Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333, and welcome back to the New Campaign Trail. Last time we hopped into New Campaign Trail was with Midnight 1964. We finally gave a shot at we gave the Johnson side a shot, rather. And that was a good amount of fun. We did one round where we played it straight as Johnson, and one round where we resigned and tried to lead our nation and the Democratic Party through the process as President McCormick, which we actually succeeded, and elected Senator Church as president with Vice President McGovern, which probably was the only way that McGovern was ever going to reach the White House, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. Now we're going to be playing a bit of a smaller mod, mainly because I want to do something real quick on stream and get it done before my DoorDash shows up. So, we're going to be playing 1972 Biden. Delaware has long been home to Senator Cale Boggs, the dear old dad of state politics, up for re-election in a presidential year, and one that looks to be a Republican sweep. Boggs is seen as untouchable. Democrats more occupied in a competitive gubernatorial race election, they've offered up a sacrifice in the Senate race. Newcastle County Commissioner Joe Biden. Biden's chances, however, are better than most think, and maybe he'll pick up an astonishing upset with shrewd political actions. Who knows? I've never heard of this Biden guy. I don't know if you guys have. We'll give it a shot. Let's learn a little about Mr. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., 29-year-old councilman for Newcastle County. Energetic and young, he's known for both his loose lips and his captivating oration skills. Biden has nothing to lose with his election. His county council seat will not re-elect him. It's been redistricted to favor Republicans. Thus, having thrown his hat in the ring, he's the only Democratic challenger. A family affair, Biden's campaign is being run by his siblings. Valerie, his younger sister at the top, his brother Jimmy handling finances, and Frankie, another brother, handling volunteers. Anyone remotely interested in Delaware state politics would laugh at the idea that this youthful candidate could displace the level old man of Delaware in the Senate election, but some of his campaign seem to think otherwise. We have a take from Kev right here. Unironically, Delaware is the dumbest state on Earth, so fucking small just given Maryland. Rhode Island gets the same treatment, to be honest. I have a slight Delaware rant, but we'll get to that in a second. The Democratic Party, possibly one of the oldest political parties still operating, is battered and divided. A crushing and grueling primary and general election campaign in 68, and once again in 72, has led to breaks within the party. The rise of the left and the students and the beginning of the end of the Southern Democrats. Though still holding Congress, the coalition built by Franklin Roosevelt seems to be weakening. Joe Biden, himself a cash-stripped liberal, has a somewhat rocky relationship with Democrats in general election. Wanting just himself a more radical presidential nominee, George McGovern, yet still leaning on his student base due to lack of funds. Biden must build up the best campaign apparatus he can for his run. You know the deal by now. Check it out. So, I've been to Delaware before. Fun fact. We stopped at, actually, it was the Joe Biden vice presidential rest stop or something like that. Somewhere along here. We're in between Maryland and New Jersey. And I had to pay $4.59 for a normal can of Pringles. For reference, I live in California. At Walmart, Pringles are about $2.40. Last time I checked. Inflation might change that. At my local store, which I live in a bit of a tourist trap town, so the price will be a little higher. It's like $3.99. Still too much for Pringles, but not $4.59. I don't know what justifies Delaware in thinking they can charge that much for Pringles, but that is my official Delaware beef, and now you know. You're expected to be allowed a nomination. This year, none of the possible recognizable candidates want to run against Cale Boggs. The only person in the field, then, you've been given a head start in pursuing your long shot. What will be your overarching strategy for this campaign? If they put us in a football stadium at the University of Delaware, and the people saw the two of us, they'd pick me. Let's run up my image. I'm young, I'm with it, and Senator Boggs is not. Simple. There's an Obama rest stop in Ireland? Really? Huh. This will prove to be the cornerstone of your campaign in the months to come. Senator Boggs is a man of a different time, and you are not. As an unknown challenger strapped for cash, how we go about bringing your message to the people of the state. In 1970, I used an army of kids to get my county council seat. We've got the kids on our side, but they can deliver papers, knock on doors, and help us spread our message in a way personal campaigning can't. Your children's crusade proves to be effective as young volunteers, even high school students, spread across the state, delivering position papers to as many front doors as possible. So I'm looking at the county seats. We only have 3 counties in Delaware. They only have 3 counties in Delaware because they're a small-ass fucking state. Most of the population is in New Castle County. We're actually not going to be able to visit any of the counties, which makes sense because I could. You just spam this and win. So, yeah, we'll have to be careful how we proceed. An opportunity to fund your campaign presents itself. Jimmy Biden, your brother and campaign finance manager, has proposed he had to go around the country to Democratic donors to convince them to donate to your campaign. What's your take on this plan? Have Jimmy do it, and then leave him alone. He can do it himself. Sure enough, Jimmy managed to return from trips as far as Alaska beaming. He managed to convince people that Delaware is a small enough state and that you're the right candidate to get some funding from donors. Beautiful. That's actually flipped New Castle County to us. Which, if we hold on to that and don't lose by too bad of margins in these 2 counties, we should have it. Television campaigning and getting the papers is as important as ever. We'll expend funds to focus on forms like media like these. No, let the volunteers do the work. Single statewide mailing costs $36,000 for God's sakes. We're not made of money. A wise choice. You'll need to stretch your funds out as much as possible. The Vietnam War is one of the major issues plaguing the minds of Delawareans. How do you wish to capitalize on this? After a bit of conventional hand-wringing about how terrible the war in Vietnam is, Mr. Boggs has added only that he wishes he could have done more towards ending the war. The fact is, Mr. Boggs has done everything he could to keep the war going, like voting for military appropriations. This is a point where you can needle Boggs, but be careful not to go overboard on attacks. Valerie, your sister and campaign manager, suggested to go on television to debate Boggs. If done correctly, she believes you could be within striking distance of a Senate seat by Election Day. I don't want to risk your RNG, so I'll try this. No malarkey like that. Mr. Boggs won't accept anyway, no matter how much we pressure him. Use the money we could use on debating to get more literature out for our volunteers to push. A good idea. Boggs isn't likely to accept, as he thinks re-election is going to be a cakewalk. Which, so far, it's going to be close, but you've been invited up to Washington with Jimmy to meet with Nordy Hoffman of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. He asks your question. What makes you think you can win? Why should you be chosen? What's your response? Hoffman's testing me. I know it. I'll stay put. I don't have to take this crap from him. Your instincts prove correct. Hoffman admits he just wants to see if you had any gut, and as soon as the Senatorial Committee money starts flowing in. It's getting closer. If elected, you'd be the youngest senator at only 29 years old. Boggs, on the other hand, is old, having been in Congress since 46. How do you plan on capitalizing on your youth? Listen here, Jack. Boggs is a hell of a nice guy, but he's old-fashioned. Get up some ads up in the papers. I'm in touch with the issues of the day, and he's not. Your campaign whips up a slogan. He understands what's happening today. Comparing your being in touch with issues like heroin or crime to issues where Boggs was first elected, like McCarthyism and polio. This seems to work wonders. But we're still losing. Fuck. You've reached out to your old friend from law school, Jack Owens. Owens, now an aide to Pennsylvania Governor Milton Schaap, could be a huge help if he could get Schaap to endorse his campaign for you. What will you tell him? Governor Schaap is Jewish, right? We've got a large Jewish community here, and I don't know them too well. Get him down there to talk to the Jews of Delaware. Schaap's acceptance and arrival at the Hotel DuPont in Wilmington, as well as a Jewish wedding at the Brandywine Country Club, energizes Jewish voters, excited to see a Jewish governor campaigning for Biden. Ooh, that does it. Look at that. We're ahead, boys. As your campaign picks up steam, 13 multimillionaires have invited you for cocktails. They offer you $20,000 if only you reverse your rhetoric on tax reform or capital gains. You accept. I won't do it. I need to show people they can trust me. There's no room for this malarkey. This may have been for the best, although you could have done with the extra campaign funds. Compromising your beliefs doesn't play well with the public. Still not helping us much, though. Well, your anti-war position on Vietnam is clear. One thing is not. What is your stance on those who evaded the draft? Democrats, especially on the left, advocate for their pardon, but may be curious how you, a stealth-style moderate, think. I think pardoning draft dodgers wouldn't be pragmatic. The war must end and our boys must come home. Pardoning the people who fled the country to avoid the service would not send the right message. You might disagree with me, but at least you'll know where I'll stand. This is a good message. Well and popular for youth electorate, you've still kept them by hitting on the theme of honesty. You've also broadened your appeal by a bit. Yeah, we have. Holy shit. You've been giving a helping hand, despite your joking around the Bidens and the Kennedys, such that they don't play football the way we play football. Senator Ted Kennedy, the Democratic Titan, is a great campaign for you. This is fantastic. I love meeting up with him. Get him to get down here as quick as possible. Ted Kennedy meets with you at St. Anthony's Roman Catholic Church in Wilmington, and for the next week, it shows up at your campaign events across the state, energizing youth voters. Look at that. Well, Delaware is still a very white state. There's still a sizable chunk of minorities in the Brandywine Valley. With race and civil voting rights being one of the most heated topics of the last 5 years, what do you have to say about it? I don't support any kind of busing. Let's get that out of the way first. It's a phony issue that only white liberals care about. However, I'm against racial violence of any kind. I cannot see the justification behind the killing of a white deaf mute for a nickel, or the tarring and failing of an old black woman, unlike some other politicians. Well, it's not like we're going to be running for office in 50 years, so it's not like that's good. I don't think this position will come back to bite us in any way possible, so yeah. Republicans make fun of you, saying you're more conservative than Boggs, but your dogged insistence of having your own viewpoint actually nets you some votes. Yeah? The national general election is ongoing beside you. The Democratic nominee, George McGovern, is seemingly going to lose in a landslide. They added a campaign fund system in some of the newer mods. I'll check that out one of these days. Well, I played it. I might do it on stream one day, but I'm guessing it has to do with the questions, so I'm not sure. The national general election is ongoing beside you, and the Democrat... No, I read that. I'm not as liberal as most people think. I'm not going to talk about things like marijuana because it distracts from what I really want to do, addressing pocketbook issues like crime, taxes, and Social Security. This works well. Avoiding the culture war and focusing on what you really care about builds up your image. Breaking news from the Beltway. A group of men connected to the committee to re-elect the president has been connected to the break-in of the Democratic National Committee into the Watergate complex. This goes to show what's wrong with our country. President Nixon doesn't believe the Bill of Rights and the rule of law. They claim the right to tap the phones of law-abiding citizens, but fail to enforce the law against John Mitchell's committee. Well, this doesn't hurt Boggs much. The Watergate break-in reinforces your image as a man of being a man voters can trust. Look at that. Look at that. Boggs seemingly caved to your pressure. You've been invited to a debate with him at a small civic association. What will your angle be? I don't want to attack Boggs much, but I can only use his voting record on things that voters care about, like taxes or Vietnam. It's consistent with Nixon's stances. You've used this tack before and worked decently well. It still works, although you could have done something different. As your campaign comes within striking distance of Boggs, Republicans are panicking. Newcastle County GOP chairman, seeking to paint you as dishonest when it comes to unions, has accused you of using a phony union bug on your literature. Valerie tells you this is just because of a printing error, since some of your flyers are printed out of state. How do you respond? In view of your extensive experience with bugging at the Watergate, I'm surprised the Republicans can't tell a real union bug when they see one. Witty. The reply gets in the papers and embarrasses the Republicans. We might even win Sussex. Look at that. State Senator Curtis Steen, representing Gagsboro, has invited you to set up a campaign event in his district. A known conservative Democrat, he's troubled by one thing. He said you're Catholic. I'm Catholic, yes, but my wife's a Presbyterian. I don't shrink from my Catholicism. It's guided my entire life. I'll just have to go with that, says Steen, fighting back a grimace. In the hearts of voters, there's a new respect for you, which shows out of your coffee talks. Oh, we're winning. Look at that. Another debate's been called, this time at front of the Hadassah, the Jewish women's organization. You've been asked a question about your stance on the genocide treaty adopted by the UN in 1948, but still not ratified by the U.S. Boggs says he doesn't know much about the treaty and would like to go back and read up on it. What will he do with this opening? I won't do anything. Showing him up would be like clubbing the family's favorite uncle. You skip over the question. In the end, you win the debate anyway. Boggs thanks you in private. You flash your I love kale pin in your lapel and he lets out a laugh. We're holding well. We're almost 10 points ahead in Newcastle. Look at that. Well, if you use your mouth to your advantage, the fact that you're only 29 has been one of the major attacks used by the now more alert Republican campaign. What will we do to counter this? Valerie has a golden idea. Henry Clay was under 30 years old when he was elected to Congress. I'll bring him up when needed. This works. Somehow. Connecting yourself to a Whig from the 19th century silences Republican attacks on your age. I'm guessing this is all like historic stuff. The Wilmington Morning News has put up a front-page story of an accusation from one of your staffers. Graduate student Victor Livingston has accused you of trying to get him to write an intentionally misleading paper on Israel. He claims your position is for a settlement between the U.S. and USSR for the internationalization of Jerusalem. How do you respond? I deny all of these accusations and will say nothing else. We don't need to give a story any oxygen. Sure enough, as accusations fly by, and the next day people have seemingly forgotten about it. We're still hanging on tight. It's alright. The Boggs campaign has suddenly woken to the tide that you are real and that you are a threat. A full-page newspaper ad shows up just 2 days before the election, and you have no money to counter it. Damn it. Although a strike disrupts its publication, Boggs is aiming to deliver your campaign a coup de grace anyway. Republicans are like the German army. They know how to do things. They'll roll through like a Nixon landslide, says Valerie. All right, here we go, boys. Time for Delaware. Looking at the 3 old counties of Delaware in anticipation. It's taking a while. They're really making us wait. Up. Okay, so we lost by 3 points there, but that's not a huge margin to lose by, generally. Like, there's not too many people there, so I'm not worried about losing Sussex. Sus. Sorry. Keeps going. Okay, we won Newcastle County, and by a pretty good margin too. I gotta imagine, as long as we don't tank here, well, we won Kent County anyway. South Delaware is cringe, true. We won Kent County. We even won Newcastle by a pretty good margin. We did it. Biden pulls off victory in shocking upset. Valerie grins as you hear the news. Back in June, she'd received a ballroom at the Hotel DuPont for a victory party, unlikely as it was. You celebrate with Neela, your 3 children, and your entire family, who have pulled off probably the most surprising upset in Delaware history. Henry Topple receives a call from Senator Vance Hartka of Indiana, and Von Topple's silence. When he's asked what type of guy you are, Hartka says, "You mean he wants to be president?" To which you let out a laugh when you hear about it. Nationally, President Nixon has, as expected, won the 72 election landslide, but your victory, along with a slew of others, means that the Democrats have held the Senate, and despite substantial Republican gains, the House. You have to wait until your 30th birthday to take your seat in the hallowed halls of U.S. Senate. Due to your youth, you've got a long road ahead of you. You comment that you could see yourself staying in the chamber for 40 years. Maybe you might even run for president someday. But now is not the time for that. Revel, Mr. Senator-elect, in your upset victory. Well, very close. A couple of these places. We'll check the exact votes. Like 80 vote difference in Kent County. Newcastle was about 6,000. And then Sussex County, about 1,000 vote difference. For all results, nothing for these 2 guys. We did better than God, they did worse than they did in real life. They're third parties. Anyway. Well, I guess that's it for the new campaign trail. Thanks for watching. Like, dislike, if you didn't. Any comments, feedback down in the comments section below. I read all the comments again. Appreciate any feedback you might have for me. I think you all know the deal by now. Sub button, notification bell. I mainly do weekday uploads, but I do make campaign trail on the weekends. And check out my various links down in the description box below, including my Twitch, which I film this live on. And I do a lot of I pretty much do all my new campaign trail stuff live on. So yeah, that's really for now, my friends. That was a bit of a messy outro. I apologize. But my pizza's coming soon, so I want to go. So I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.